everyone, I'm Nadia, career practitioner and educator. I'm just going to jump in here as we are May and we are all things subject selection at the moment. I'm doing lots of counselling in schools, looking at students' Moresby and just really discussing subjects. And what that does also mean, or what you need to also consider, is do you need any prerequisites for possible, future pathways? So it can be a little bit tricky if you don't have any ideas. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can search for courses, even if that is the case. So because it is coming up to mid-year, if we're on vtac now, I'm going to focus on Victoria because that's where I live and most of my clients are. So if there is a mid-year course search, normally it would just say course search. If that's not there, we go to the course search archive. So vtac is updated for the current year 12s generally around that July time. So everything and all the data we see is obviously based on last year's cohort. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you know that you would like to do physio or architecture or engineering as an example, then obviously we can just kind of go in and tap that in. Now, as a career practitioner, generally I can reel off the prerequisites for most courses, but it is really important to kind of just check yourself. And what you can do as well, if there are a few different universities that you are looking at, depending on your location and, preferences, you might, I'm just going to pop in a couple of different options here to give you a couple kind of different prerequisites. So we're not quite sure what engineering we do want to do. So if you are even that clear, even year 10, that's pretty great. But say something like an engineering honours, you can obviously just go into that. But what we want to do in year 10 is think about all of the possibilities. So even if we're not 100% sure, it is important to just have a look at the prerequisites and to be aware of them so we can make that kind of educated decision. And if we are leaving out a subject, we're aware that perhaps we would have to find a different pathway for that course or to go to a different institution as well. So it's just really important to consider that. So with engineering honours, we go into course requirements and then we go studying year 12 in 2024. Now, as I said, it's still on kind of last year's data, so it'll be rolled over kind of July. So that's totally fine. But what you can do is obviously you can still see the prerequisites for the kind of future years here. It doesn't have the study score, so we just kind of have to go off what it was last year. So generally most of them are kind of 25. And that was the case with this course. So it would be prerequisites for students starting the course in 2026. So that would be these current 2025 year 12s, English, math methods, or specialist maths. And there's also a science requirement of chemistry or physics. You just do one or the other, and you would need to get 25 to meet that prerequisite. And with prerequisites, it is very strict. It's very much just a it happens very automatically through the system. So if you wouldn't make that prerequisite, you would just kind of be dropped off. You wouldn't be considered. There's kind of nothing you can really do about that. And just to let you know, it is also based on the raw study score. It's not a scaled score. Okay, so that is one course. So if you were interested engineering at Monash, they probably do have one of those most strict prerequisites asking you to do chem or physics. But then at least you know that that's kind of the case. If we look at, let's just look at Deakin. We go course requirements. We can see English, obviously, a slightly lower EAL. We can see 20 in one of general maths, methods, or specialists. So you can do any maths and then, well, any of those three maths, and then you need at least 20. Then we have, we'll do one more. Let's do Swinburne. We have general maths, so another, again, that's actually just maths and English. So that's that there. I will do other videos to show you how to really dig down into this course and understand what's happening. So look out for that. But yeah, this is just to look at prerequisites. Now, I said before, if you don't actually know the type of course you're looking at, what to do, what I would suggest is you can go to this page, and I'll link this page below. If you're in 2025 or year 10, then your prerequisite guide is not out yet. You would be prerequisites for 2028. So that'll come out around July. Well, I did say it was updated in August, but yeah, generally around July, hopefully it would be up. So what I would suggest you do is just go for the latest year. So I would just go prerequisites for 2027. And then you can basically just have a look at all institutions and their prerequisites, just to give you a big overall guide. So you can kind of see, okay, well, there's definitely maths requirements in the majority of kind of engineering courses. I can see that education anywhere requires at least general maths units 1 and 2, but it's actually not a 3-4. So if I even just do year 11, that would meet that requirement. Nursing, I can see a lot of the time is English. There's a couple of options to have just a unit 1 and 2 maths. They're a bit unusual. Most prerequisites are for the unit 3 and 4. I can see architecture, there's no prerequisites at all anywhere. So any of the kind of things you're thinking about, so business, the majority is really just English. There's a couple of commerce options with maths, but it can give you just a nice overview and kind of picture of what kind of subjects. And what you will generally find, if you're not really into kind of chemistry, it's probably likely you're kind of going to be interested in the courses that require chemistry, etc. So you're probably not really wanting to do pharmacy or biomedicine and things like that. But you will find that there's, the prerequisites really do differ across institutions. So just because one has it, it doesn't mean the others do, just kind of like I showed you before. Yeah, so this guide is really handy. So I will link the link for that below. And if you are in year 10, as I said, or even in future years, to just kind of look out for your year kind of coming around July. But if not, just use the year before, because they often obviously don't change a lot, but then you can double check when that kind of comes out in July before you put in your subject selection, because generally you wouldn't have to do them until kind of week 2 or 3 in term 3. Hope that's helpful. Any questions? Yeah, please reach out.